So let's talk about something that so many of us high achievers know, but maybe don't always talk about: imposter syndrome. You know, that little voice in your head that whispers, you're a fraud. And the wild thing is, it usually gets loudest right when you're succeeding. For medical science liaisons, or MSLs, this is a huge, huge deal. So let's get into it. And everything we're covering today comes from the personal insights of Savannah Parker. She's a practicing MSL who was brave enough to share her own story with this stuff. We're going to walk through her journey and pull out some of the incredible lessons she learned along the way. I mean, Savannah kicks things off with just total honesty. She's literally writing about imposter syndrome while feeling like an imposter. And that right there, that tells you everything you need to know. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have, how many successes you've racked up. This feeling can show up for anyone, at any time. Okay, so what is this feeling, really? Let's actually define it, because being able to separate what you're feeling from what's real, well, that's the first step to getting a handle on it. At its core, it's this pattern of doubt. It's that nagging fear that any minute now, someone's going to tap you on the shoulder and say, "We found you out. You don't belong here." And this is all happening even when the evidence, your degrees, your promotions, your results, is screaming the exact opposite. Your feelings are basically at war with the facts. This is what it sounds like, right? That question that pops into your head right after you get a promotion or start a huge new project. It makes you second guess if you're even cut out for it. And oh boy, this one hits especially hard for people in healthcare. We're all trained to be humble, to aim for perfection, to never, ever make a mistake. And while that's so important for patient care, it can also be the perfect breeding ground for this fear to grow into full-blown imposter syndrome. So to really see how this plays out, let's jump into Savannah's first big run-in with this feeling. This was right after she finished her PGY1 pharmacy residency, and she was starting her first job as a clinical pharmacist. So on one side, you have her inner monologue, which was just a storm of doubt. But on the other side, you have the cold, hard facts. She was residency trained. She had a deep well of clinical knowledge. She had a manager who saw her potential. The gap between how she felt and what was objectively true was just massive. And what happened when she pushed through all that doubt? She didn't just survive. She absolutely crushed it. This job became a cornerstone of her career. It's where she built her expertise and, just as importantly, proved to herself that she could beat that inner critic. Now you'd think, okay, success. That should shut down the self-doubt, right? Well, not so fast. Because when Savannah made the jump to becoming an MSL, that feeling came roaring back, maybe even stronger than before. This time, the game was different. The MSL role is way more autonomous. And suddenly, she's on a team with MDs and PhDs. The doubt shifted to comparison, making her wonder, how in the world did I get here? But again, look at the reality. She had mentors and coaches telling her, hey, this is totally normal. Every new MSL feels this way. And this is so, so important. Having people in your corner who see your worth, especially when you can't see it yourself, is an absolute game changer. That outside perspective can be the anchor you need when you feel like you're drowning in self-doubt. All right, now for the final boss battle for an MSL, the one-on-one meeting with a world-renowned key opinion leader, a KOL. This is where imposter syndrome can really crank it up to 11. This is the question, isn't it? You're about to have a scientific conversation with someone who literally wrote the book on the topic. The pressure is insane. You're thinking, what could I possibly say that this person doesn't already know? But the answer, well, it was way simpler than she ever could have imagined. Her big breakthrough came down to two things: the brand new data she had in her back pocket and a simple cup of coffee. And here it is. This is the whole key. Her job wasn't to be a clone of the KOL. Her job was to bring a piece of the puzzle that he was missing. She had specific, new information he needed. Her value wasn't in matching his expertise. It was in complementing it. That changes everything. So, it turns out, a KOL isn't looking for a peer with their exact same experience. What they value is a credible scientific partner. Someone who's curious, who's honest, who can help them connect the dots and see the bigger scientific picture. It's about building a relationship based on trust. Okay, so we've seen the stories, but how do you actually fight this feeling when it shows up? For Savannah, it wasn't about making the feeling go away forever. It was about learning a conscious, deliberate strategy to shift her mindset. And here's the strategy. It's this really intentional 3-step mental reset. 1, You step back and get honest with yourself. 2, you actually write down or say out loud what you bring to the table. And 3, you actively shift your focus away from what you think you're lacking over to the strengths and qualifications you actually have. And this is what that looks like in practice. It's like putting things on a scale. In one pan, you've got this vague feeling of being a fraud. But in the other pan, you pile on the hard evidence: residency training, deep expertise, an MBA, board certification, a passion for your work. You know what? The facts always outweigh the feeling. When you see it all laid out, that imposter's voice gets a whole lot quieter. So, we've gone through the stories, we've gone through the strategy. Now, let's boil all this down into some wisdom you can take with you and use yourself. Here are the 5 big things to remember. First, feeling like an imposter often means you're growing, you're pushing your boundaries. Second, your unique background, that's a strength, not a weakness. Third, your personality, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, doesn't disqualify you. 4, that support system is absolutely non-negotiable. And finally, remember that mindset shift. It really is your most powerful weapon. So the next time that little voice starts whispering in your ear, here's your playbook. Step 1, step back and list your wins. Step 2, separate feeling from fact. Just because you feel like a fraud doesn't make it true. Step 3, talk to the people who believe in you. And step 4, remember why you started this in the first place. Reconnect with that passion. And we'll end on this powerful thought. That feeling of doubt does not get to write your story. Your accomplishments, your skills, your passion, they have earned you your seat at the table. You belong there. Never forget that.